Hello guys, my name is Angel, welcome back. In this episode of Dev++, we're going to be talking about building a JSON REST API with Python and Flask, part 5, deployment to AWS Elastic Beanstalk. So this is what we're going to do today. Steps that we're going to go. First of all, a little bit of an overview on Elastic Beanstalk. This is a product from Amazon Web Services. After that, we're going to continue the project that we did with Flask to deploy that to Elastic Beanstalk. We're going to be installing the CLI for Elastic Beanstalk to be able to deploy from my computer, setting up the project, all the changes that we need to do in order to get it to work on Elastic, the actual deployment, and just some basic testing of what's going on there. So perfect, let's get to it. So first of all, I have my PyCharm here open. Oh, sorry, I forgot to go through the why Elastic Beanstalk, right? So pretty quick, right? First of all, Elastic Beanstalk is a managed service, meaning that you don't have to deal directly with servers and infrastructure. Everything gets deployed for you by the platform, so it's simple and fast. You get a load balancer, you get a web server, you get a VPC, security groups, everything that is related to infrastructure with AWS. You can actually even add a database to it if necessary. That's not going to be on the scope of this video, but you can also do that simply with a couple of clicks. You can also add periodic and asynchronous tasks, with a simple deployment. But we're not going to go through to that in this video, at least. It's going to be another video. It's automated deployment. You can deploy from your CLI or from your GitHub repository. It has built-in auto-scaling and load balancing. So I told you it deploys automatically for you a server with a load balancer. You can automatically scale, servers as you see it fit, or even increasing the capacity of the server as you see it fit. It has monitoring and logs, and it's pretty easy to extend, meaning that you can install binaries from different libraries. You can install multiple things or tweak here and there the web server that puts in front of you, the load balancer. You can change the environment a little bit. Perfect. Now we are good to go. So this is the IDE, right? This is the previous project that we created, the Flask project that we created. Let me go to my terminal window. Let me close this one and start from scratch, right? First of all, we're gonna enable again our virtual environment just to see, just to set up the Python runtime that we're gonna use, right? We see it there, looks perfect. First thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna install the AWS EV CLI, right? Let me put an upgrade. It's gonna install for you. This is the tool that is gonna help us deploy the system and interact with Elastic Beanstalk. So in order to use this tool, I have to create like a user on AWS. I already did that, the ++ user. I created some security credentials that I have here in my .env.aws. This depends on how you want to set it up. Basically, a key in a secret key that I'm going to use this console tool. So we have here the ev command, which is the shortcut in order to use the CLI, right? That's perfect. First of all, I'm gonna read that .env.aws so that I can access my account. I'm gonna show you a couple of apps that we have here. Oh, before we do that, I have to create the application, right? So Elastic Beanstalk recognizes that you have an application going on in your working directory if you have certain configuration files. We're gonna do that right now. So I'm gonna create the app. I'm gonna tell you it's gonna be US East, North Virginia, right? It lists a couple of applications that already create that, but I'm gonna create my own. I'm gonna call this Python Flask REST API. Number 5, name is pre-selected. It says that I'm using Python, that's correct. Let me choose from the different platforms that he has available. I'm gonna choose number 1, Python 3.8. I don't want to use code commit. Set up SSH, not right now. Great. So if I do EV list, it's going to show me all the applications that I have. Sorry, all the environments for the current application that I have. And we can see that he created a .last-in-beanstalk directory with a config file. This config file shows everything that we just set up, right? It's going to be an application, the name of the application, the runtime environment, and the region, which are the things that are relevant right now. So in order to move forward, Elastic Beanstalk does deployment for that application in environments, right? One application can have multiple environments. This is really good and really useful to do like development environment and staging environments and production environment in a separate way. That way you can keep your application pretty safe. And you don't have to like deploy to all the environments at the same time. You can start like deploying to a specific environments, right? So let's start by creating our first environment. I'm gonna call this development. I'm gonna prepend the name of the project just because when you have multiple projects going on, this is a good practice. So I'm gonna create this environment, right? He's gonna automatically create this for me. It takes about 5 minutes. So he took the application, he tried to upload it. I think it's gonna fail because we need to do some changes first before we go to the application. But let's start doing that. So how Elastic Beanstalk works, specifically for Python, is that he tries to locate a file called application.py and run that file. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna change the name of the file hello.py to application.py, right? So we have this here, right? And what I'm gonna do is, because he will try to run this file, I'm gonna just start the application directly from here, right? I'm gonna call app.run. I'm gonna export this. I'm gonna run the application that I just created from Flask and take it from there. Okay, so we did this, right? Here is still creating the environment, so we're gonna leave it like that for now. So what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna activate the virtual environment that I have here. I'm going to try to run my application just to see if I didn't break anything, right? Running in 5000, I open my Insomnia HTTP client. Flask, I'm gonna open this. So let's see if this is working. Get request. I have my task there. By the way, I'm still connected to that instance from MongoDB, so that's there, right? By the way, there is a specific way of setting that environment variable in Elastic. I'm going to show you that too. So for now, I can see that this is working, right? Post request, I send the post request, everything seems to be working right now. Probably the headers are required here just because I protected that. But for now, we're just going to do the login, right? The login, I get a token, everything works, right? So as I'm doing this, it's still creating the environment. I have to, normally what Elastic does is he works with the Git. If you're in a Git folder and you don't specify which files you want to upload, he's gonna default to upload the files that you have committed to your local working directory. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna have to do a commit before we do anything else in order to deploy those to Elastic, right? So right now it's status, everything is working. I'm just gonna do a commit here. Say renaming entry point. Perfect. So this, as I was telling you, probably is gonna fail because I forgot to rename the file before I create the environment. That's okay. So one more step that we need to do, remember this .env file, we need to set up these environment variables in Elastic. You can do that with the console from Elastic, or you can do it using the CLI. Right now we're gonna do it using the CLI. So for that, I do set env. I put the variables separated with a space. That's what I'm going to use. Right, so there isn't a special character here, so I'm just going to quote here, just in case. Right? So I cannot set the environment right now because the environment is processing. So I have to wait for this to be done in order for me to do this. Okay, let me quote the hold. Oh, it says no matches. I believe they have to do with, oh, I have another ampersand here. So let me go quote this too. Okay, let me read the and then set env. I'm reading the credentials. I need to do it. I open another terminal and I'm setting first the environment variables. Once this is completed, I'm gonna be able to read those from my code. And I don't have to change my code just because remember that I'm taking those variables from the environment. This is gonna put it then in the environment, but in Elastic, and then my code is just gonna run as it is. Okay, let's see information regarding this, right? Let me see, status. The name of the app is this. Status from the environment, what's the status? Seems to be working. I could also do ev open. It's gonna open the URL in my browser. Right now it's failing because what I was telling you, I didn't put the correct name of the application, so we're just gonna wait for a second that this gets completed. All right, so now that we set up the environment variables, we're gonna try another deployment, right? It's status, ev deploy. We can either leave it at blank. He's gonna take this information from here, the config file. He's gonna try to deploy this environment, right? Or we can just indicate it specifically that we want to deploy that environment, that we want to update to that environment. So this is gonna take a few minutes. Okay, so he's done deploying. I'm gonna do ev open. It's throwing an error. Let's see. Right, so this file needs to be called application and also needs to export, or sorry, needs to have a member called application. So we do this. Let's do a commit here and go ahead and deploy it again. Fast forward this. Okay, now that we have this deployed, let's open it. Hello world, take the URL. We paste it here, right? We run the login and it does generate the token, right? So it seems to be working. So we just copy this token, set it up in a post request, see if we can create tasks. Just gonna copy this, put it here. We click this and now we are able to create tasks. You see how this number is incremented? Let's get the get request. Put the URL. Let's copy the token. And then we go to the header here, delete this. And there we go. We have all the tasks that we have been created. This, I believe, This is a bunch of tasks. Cool. So now we have this working. So now we can deploy our web services already working for building our first API. So this is it for now, guys. I'm going to include some of the links of where I pull this information. One thing important, if you get any problems connected to your MongoDB database, remember that from Atlas, you have to indicate that it received connection from any IP. That was an error that when I deployed first, I wasn't seeing any data coming through, and I have to indicate that it allows connection from Elastic Beanstalk. In this case, just white listed all the IPs, all the possible IPs. So thanks for listening, guys. I'm gonna push this code. I'm gonna put some links on the video. Thanks for watching. If you really are enjoying this content, please hit the like button. Put any comments regarding this or any other video that you want to see. Remember to subscribe to the channel and share this with anyone that you consider that this information will be useful. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.